So I want to chat with you about 5 keys to a successful style. And if you followed along with us, myself and Beverly at all, you know 2 words are used over and over again as we talk about being successful in photography in the broad brush sense, and being successful in business and building an amazing brand, and that is create gaps between you and the masses, doing things better than others do, and doing things different than others do, and doing things with distinction and quality and excellence, all of those things. And they have to all come together to form, when people look at your work and listen to your messaging and your marketing, it's like you want them, don't worry about what they like, just worry that, oh, they'll say, well, that's the Waldens. Because the ones that love it, they'll travel as far as they need to travel, and they'll pay to get your art because it's distinctive, it's unique, and they love it. The ones that don't, they don't bother you. I mean, that is at the heart of being, I think, an amazing artist, is finding that sweet spot. So what are those 5 keys? Well, the first one is clarity. Who are you and what do you do? Forming people's expectations by being consistent, being tightly defined, all of those things. I've talked about that in a previous piece. What we're going to talk about in this one is technical excellence. What role does that play in creating an amazing and successful style? The third thing, and it's for a piece coming down the road later, is purpose. What's the purpose of your art? How does it serve others? How does it make your clients the hero and feature them in a way different from everyone else? Purpose is kind of where that's the magic pixie dust, and we'll talk about that again at a later piece. The fourth one is investment worthy. There are certain attributes that will make your art and your photography, your portrait art, investment worthy. Because as you know, if you've been clothes shopping, there are clothing that is, you would say, I love that, I'm glad that's back in style, or I remember when that was in style, I don't love that. Whatever it might be, but you know that it's faddish. But there's other things you look at and you go, yeah, I'm gonna invest some money in that because it's always in style, it's always classy. For the ladies, it might be a little black dress, right? I'm not teaching on this, so I gotta leave that alone. But there's an investment worthiness that goes into a successful style. And the last one, the fifth one, is consistency. You know, giving time, allowing time of consistency to both make yourself known and to build excellence in your style, because as you're consistent, you'll begin to finesse and refine. So it's not as fun to talk about consistency, but they're all 5 of them are just as important. So those are the 5 keys, I believe, or at least for us, to building a successful portrait style. The second one that we're going to talk about today, and that is technical excellence, clarity, technical excellence, is one that is a kind of a love-hate conversation for me. A lot of people, I know this is true when I go out and you tell people you're a photographer, they'll go, oh man, what kind of setting do I want to set this on, and what kind of lens, and man, that camera's sharp, and then the real insult is like, boy, if I had that camera, I could take great pictures. It's like, oh, please. You know, it's like, those are tools, right? The technical side is important, but it's a tool. I like to explain it this way. Being technically excellent, what it should do for your art is it makes the photography invisible. When you're technically excellent, it makes the photography invisible, meaning the lighting and all the other things, but it brings the story, the purpose, the beauty, it brings that to the surface, right? Because think about going to an amazing movie, right? And you're not thinking of, well, maybe we're photographers, but most of us aren't thinking about, you know, the camera angle, you're not thinking about the light, you're not thinking about short lighting, broad lighting, you're not thinking about, you know, the cinematic color grading and all that, you're thinking about the story. story. You're jumping in your seat, and then you're crying, and then you're laughing. You're doing all those things. Why is that? Because the story is being told in such a technically amazing and profound way that the story is lifted up and the technique bows its knee to it. Another great example I love to use, and I only give these because I think it's easy for us to understand. Let's say you're watching a public access television. You're flipping through, you got this person on public access, right? And those are maybe free for everybody, and you just happen to hit one. It's got a great message. Whoever's up there talking is saying wonderful things, and you're loving it, but so you're watching it, and then the camera bounces, right? And then it goes out of focus, and then the person walks out of the shot. What do? You change the channel. It's because the mediocrity or the lack of technical excellence overwhelmed the message, diluted it, and caused us to not be able to pay attention with what's most important. So as a photographer and as an artist, I believe that we become technically excellent so our voice can rise to the top. So our art can serve its purpose, which is the third thing we talk about down the road, is so that you see the people, you laugh, you cry, you see the story. All of those play in. If your work falls short of technical excellence, I think that hurts its investment worthiness. It also makes it a facade. I think what that means is that somebody might love the initial impact of what happened. You know, it's like, oh, I love my little girl with that expression and all that. But then later you start putting it on the wall and you start noticing all of the things that shouldn't be. The lack of sharpness, or the lack of color accuracy, or the bad composition, or, you know, lack of whatever it might be. You know, print quality, whatever. And so technical excellence is critical. And it is absolutely bottom line important to carrying your message. But never, ever, 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 ever think that, and it's my opinion, that you're going to be an amazing artist because you're technically excellent. That's a hard message. I mean, but it's so true. When you're technically excellent, like, man, look how sharp that is. Look, you can count every pore in that person's skin. Well, yeah, I'm not so sure that's a good idea, right? But it's like, yeah, look at, man, I got this camera. It's so great, and you can see every detail. Yeah, you know, my dad used to tell me, he used to say, Tim, he would say, we're not in the reality business, we're in the flattery business. And as a portrait photographer, that's true. Our job is to portray people the way their loved ones see them. To portray them not the way a camera sees them, but to portray them in a way that the people that mean the most and care the most about them see them. And so being technically excellent, you can have a creatively inept photograph or piece of art that's technically excellent. I go back to when I taught at the university, I taught photojournalism, and I remember there were students that were so creatively gifted. I could just see the magic, and you know, but I just couldn't put it on film. We were shooting, this was in the film days, and it was like out of focus or something. And my heart hurt for them, but it didn't bother me as much as other students who would go out and photograph like a brick or something and bring it in, and it was like tack sharp. You could see everything, and there's a gnat over here, and you can count every little pore and every little nugget. But it had no story. It had no message. It didn't tell me anything other than you really know how to expose a piece of film, and you really understand how to focus your camera. And then that begins to dilute your understanding of what people are really wanting in an amazing portrait. They want their story told. They want the people they love to be as beautiful as they see them. They want timelessness. They want nuances and body language. And technical excellence is there to carry that. I want you to work hard, very hard, at being technically excellent. And I want you to learn about technique. I want you to learn about cameras. But always keep it in perspective to what it means to being a successful portrait artist. And that is, first, you're telling stories, you're showing beauty, you're celebrating life, you're celebrating people's relationships, whatever that might be. And when you do that and you do it technically excellent, guess what? They won't even notice it's a photograph. Pretty soon they're sitting there and they're remembering their story, or they're telling somebody in the room about how that experience went, or about that age, if it's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years beyond when that was captured. They're like, oh my gosh, you know what I miss about that age. They're not taking it off the wall and hiding it because it was faddish or because it was average in technical execution. So I want to balance this. If I had any word for what I'm telling you, it's balance. Yes, be technically excellent, and yes, learn everything you can, but never allow it to be the end all to really creating a impactful style. So technical excellence is the vehicle that carries your message. It's the vehicle that allows people to love and experience your art without distraction and without any doubt as to what it is that they're to look at. And I hope that helps, because I know sometimes we get messed up on that. And we think, wow, if I learn more about my camera, if I learn more about capturing in RAW, if I learn more about this, I'll be a great photographer. Yeah, well, I think we have to learn about other things too and carry it in on that excellence. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been beneficial to you. And I hope you know how much Bev and I care about all of you that follow along with us. Please like and subscribe to our videos. It means a lot. We want to build a following and get to know you, have you part of the Portrait Success family. God bless.